Whittaker Weekly is a 3-episode anime discussion podcast where two brothers discuss a show of their choice. The show can be anything from a current season flop to a decades-old classic. What are they going to talk about next? Who knows? They sure don't. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lee.
And this is Whittaker Weekly. Let's get right to it. So, first off, we've got some news to share with you. A bunch of news that I'm actually pretty excited about. One is that the new film by the creator of Your Name, if you ever watched that, it's a beautiful, beautiful movie called, the new movie that he made called Weathering with You, is coming to the U.S. For a few nights in January.
Oh, fantastic. I've seen the poster for it, and I'm pretty excited for it. It's nothing to shout about. It's literally just two people sitting on a bench, but the artwork is so stunning, and what he did with Your Name is so amazing. I haven't even seen the trailer yet, but I want to see it just from the poster because I knew it was the same guy.
Oh yeah. But watch the trailer; it's incredible.
Okay. And we'll be linking the trailer with this.
Yep.
So visit our site, whittakerweekly.com, and we'll have a link to that trailer for you.
Okay. Next up, today, Gearbox announced the first DLC for Borderlands 3. And for the people who have the season pass, it's included in the season pass. And this is called Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot. So Handsome Jack, the villain from Borderlands 2, apparently stole Moxie's plans for a casino and built it himself and called it the Handsome Jackpot. So you are being hired by Moxie and a couple of other people who are not player characters to raid this casino. And it looks like a whole bunch of fun. Anyways, not only that, but just released today in a new update for Borderlands 3 is the first 4-player raid for Borderlands 3 called Takedown at Malawan's Black Site. And it is a new area that is designed to be extremely difficult. And it is balanced. That's what I'm looking for. It's balanced for 4 players, 4 level 50 players, which is the max level right now for Borderlands 3. And then just this kind of popped up in my news this morning, my news feed. The author of Pulp Fiction, Roger Avery, gave the Konosuba movie 5 stars.
Really?
And said this is the reason cinema exists. So we'll have links to all that stuff on our site. Anyways, any news that you want to cover?
Nothing came up really this week.
Okay.
On my end. So, sorry if I missed anything that might be important to some of our listeners. Let us know if there's something you wish we'd have commented on. But that's it for the news for us this week. So we're going to go ahead and move on to 3 episodes in. And this week it was your pick. So what did we watch?
We watched Dagashi Kashi. And I'll go ahead and read the description. This description is from Funimation. Kokonotsu Shikida. Actually, I think it's from Crunchyroll, but Crunchyroll didn't have season 1, so we watched it on Funimation. But anyways, Kokonotsu Shikada, my bad, is the heir to his father's candy shop, but despite his father's wishes, he would rather be a manga author instead. One fateful day, a cute but strange girl, Hotaru Shidare, starts visiting the store day after day to convince Kokonotsu to take over his father's business. And let's go ahead and just dive into this wild ride of a show.
Yes. So let's see. The opening scenes are basically just the opening shots because kind of establish that this is very rural Japan. Very rice fields and cicadas screaming. Cats lying about in the shade.
Which also establishes that it's summer, because the cat's lazing about and the cicadas, they are a summer thing in Japan.
Yep.
I guess wherever they are, but that's very, very common for Japanese summer shots, establishing shots to let people know that it's summer.
Yep. We're introduced to our main character as he's drawing a manga page and decides he doesn't like the way it looks, so he's crumpled it up. And he's about to cast it aside when he gets a phone call from a buddy of his. He realizes he missed a call, so checks the message, and his buddy calls him Coconut, which is very close to his actual name, which is Kokonotsu. And so people will sometimes just call him Coconut for fun. And that's kind of established, is that he doesn't really like being called Coconut, but he kind of tolerates it from different people. And then as he's about to throw the manga page away, his dad comes in, looking all very serious and stern.
And he says, "Son, we need to talk."
Cut to the son is now standing at the door, and the dad is kneeling down, holding a pile of papers. What are those papers?
And the dad says, "About this manga you're writing, I mean, it's pretty good, but I think you're spending too much time fantasizing or idolizing the female character. Really, you need to make some adjustments here." And the son's just like, "Not only did you read my manga, but you're criticizing it? When did I ever ask you this?" And then we have kind of this scene going back and forth that turns into a make-believe boxing match between the dad and the son.
Well, the dad shouts, "Get your head out of the 2D world and come and join me. You are the heir to you are the 9th generation and heir to this candy shop in the middle of nowhere." And the kids shout back, "Stop making it sound prestigious by calling me an heir to something."
Yeah, and so this first few shots really establish this show and what's gonna be happening during this show. Anyways, so
he ends up getting stuck watching the store.
Well, before that, like the son, Kokonotsu, while he and his dad are arguing, he tells his dad, if you want to sell this candy better, this Dagashi, you have to sell. First of all, you have to put the candy on the shelves for the smaller kids to reach. Put the cheaper candy on the lower shelves so the kids can reach it. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to get the candy, and we're not going to be able to sell it. Also, you should sell candy that has pictures of popular characters on them, because even though they're expensive, they will sell well and will be able to bring in more money. And the dad thinks that, "Oh, you're such a genius, my boy. You're such a genius. You are destined to be the 9th owner of this shop, or the 9th generation owner of our shop." And I just thought, his dad is so bad at this that he thinks that common sense things, of make sure the kids can reach the candy they want to buy. And, oh, here's a popular character amongst children. It will probably sell well.
Yeah.
That common sense things like that are acts of genius.
It's so true.
So, anyway, so the son kind of gets tricked into watching the store
during the summer. And so it's at that moment that we're introduced to Hotaru, the blue-haired girl with the crazy eyes. Call them crazy eyes because I don't know anyone else in the show who actually has, not just the bright color of blue of her eyes, but that there's concentric circles in her irises, and that tends to indicate instability in a person. And so she's a character. She comes in and introduces herself.
That is a good way to describe her. She is definitely a character.
So she comes in, and as a matter of introducing herself and who she is, and the fact that she represents a conglomerate of candy makers out of the big city, she shows them the commercial for some of their products. And She's holding his TV. So this is 2016 that this came out. She could have brought an iPad. She could have had preloaded video on it. She's holding his
tube television.
This thing's a box. This thing's a box that would have weighed 40 pounds.
Well, and like he's like, wait a minute. She introduces herself as Shidari Hotaro. And he's like, wait a minute, I know that name. And he's like, ah ha ha, see? And he's like, wait a minute, no, you're not that Shidari. And she says, yes, I am. And then she's holding the TV and showing these commercials. And you the candies that they're showing, and I guess could be said to the entire thing, but the candies that they're showing, they're real candies in Japan. As far as I could tell, they are not actually like, plays on those candies. I think they actually got the rights for those candies to be in this show.
You know what? You might just be able to go to a candy shop and say, hey, we're going to do an anime about candy and candy stores. If you want to finance this, we'll show you your product.
Maybe. But anyways,
they might have done something along those lines.
And then she's still holding this TV while talking to him, and she's starting to fall over because she doesn't have very good upper body strength, and she's like hunched over holding this big old TV.
Oh, it's so bad.
So at that point, the
like
dad
every once in a while
home.
She has like this pocket dimension, and every once in a while she doesn't. She has to face reality.
But anyways, so she asks Kokonotsu, who has been called by a friend over the phone as Coconuts, as a nickname, and his other friend Saya, who we will meet later on in this episode, pretty much right after this scene, actually, she calls him Coconuts as well. It's just kind of his nickname. But Kokonotsu asks Hotaro, "What are you doing here? Why is someone from such a big famous candy company here?" And she says, "Oh, well, I'm here. I'm looking for Yo." And she's like, he says, "Wait, oh, sorry, my dad's not here. Why are you looking for him?" And she's like, "Wait, you don't know? Your dad is a super genius in the candy world." And like, as soon as she says that, Yo comes in, and
the moment they meet, her eyes flash the diamond lights, and his eyes flash the diamond lights,
and they both go into a crazy battle pose.
Battle pose, and like, oh my gosh, they're both Junipyo. They're both this crazy sugar people. And the great thing is that Hotaru's facial expression is perpetually tired. He has resting tired face.
Oh, he's just like, whatever.
Like literally in episode 3, there's a line where he's walking in on some crazy wacky thing that Hotaru's doing, and he goes, I've walked in on something weird again.
Oh, bless you. You okay?
I'm all right.
Okay. So after they have this crazy exchange between the two of them, Hotaro says, talking to the dad, says, I want you to come and work for my dad's family. I've been sent here to convince you to come and work for my dad's company. And he's like, no, not going to happen. Unless, he's like, wait, what? Unless I'll come join your company if you can convince my son to become the 9th generation owner of our family's candy shop. So, and that's the plot of the entire show right there. Hotaro, from that point on, it is her mission in life to prove or to show Kokonotsu the wonderful world of cheap candies.
Yeah. A little bit later, they end up going.
Oh wait! Before that, we should probably talk about. Before they should there's a scene before the dad shows up. Actually, when the two of them are just talking, Kokonotsu and Hotaro, where she says, in order to convince him of the greatness of, even before it's her job, in order to convince him of the greatness of Dagashi, they have an exchange about umaibo. And umaibo is, again, a real candy. You can actually go to some of our import shops here in the area and buy bags of it. and umaibo literally translates into tasty steak. And they have this exchange where they're trying to combine flavors to have like the most incredible flavors, the most incredible flavor pairings. And she's showing him how incredible everything is just because you can have whatever you want. And he says, okay, awesome. Here. All right, well, fine. Well, what about this combination? And he gives her pizza, spaghetti, and salad.
Like corn soup or something like that. Or
corn soup. Yeah, pizza, spaghetti, and corn soup. And she's just like, and he's like, here, the perfect Italian experience. And she's like, oh, this is incredible. And she bites into them. I feel like I'm in France. No. Don't you mean Italy?
Italia des.
Italia des. Hi, Cosmo des. All right. Anyways, after that, they step outside. They step outside with the dad after the dad's there, and she's trying to, they're eating fried potato, which is kind of like a large potato chip, pretty much.
Yeah.
I never had one of those in Japan, so I'm not quite sure what exactly it is, and I didn't bother looking it up. And again, he's Kotaro or Kokonotsu. My bad. Kokonotsu is telling his dad he's absolutely not going to he's not going to take over this shop. And the dad says, "No. What do you mean? I mean, especially after you brought such a beautiful girlfriend over who loves the Dagashi so much. You two would be great at taking over this shop." And he's like, "Wait, no, Dad, that's not my girlfriend." And Hotaro's like, "Yes." It's true. And the dad says, "Oh wait, no, Hotaro, then what kind of guy do you like?" And she gets all super flushed and embarrassed, and she's just like, "Well, the thing is, I can't
There's somebody else I'm already in love with.
There's someone else I'm already in love with." And she's being all sweet and maidenly and stuff like that. And his dad says, "Really, who is it that captured your heart?" And then she points, and her finger's pointing right at Kokonotsu.
And then at the speed of light, she crosses the distance between the two of them. Her finger is touching the bag of potato chips that he's holding. And she's saying that, and she admits that she confesses her love for the mascot on the bag. But the whole time, he's like, "Wait, me? You're in love with me?" Painful redirect.
Yep, and it's the because she's a beautiful girl, but she's also nuts. So there's a lot of artwork out there that could be very, very easily mistaken as her as being a yandere just because of the faces that she makes. She's not yandere, at least not to this point. She's not violent. She's just crazy about Dagashi.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy about these cheaps these cheap candies.
Yeah.
I'm looking up fried potato in Japan, and I'm just getting pictures of French fries and things like that. I guess it might just be a giant potato chip. I'm not sure, though.
I seem to recall during that scene as well, she tried to demonstrate the best way to eat those. So she'll occasionally do this, and she tried to demonstrate the best way of eating this particular type of food, this candy. And she grabbed a bag of hot, spicy ones and held. Like, apparently the bag contains 3 very large, thick potato chips. And this one happened to be covered in spice. And you watch her hold the chips high above her head and just like wood chipper all the way in. But they're hot and spicy, and she ate it too fast. And so she ended up with this pink ring of chemical burns from the spices around her lips for a while during this scene as well.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And then there's this warning at the bottom saying that these candies are out of stock.
Okay. So, but it's also during that time that, okay. So, some part of the conversation happens during that scene where the dad starts weeping uncontrollably for how mean the boy is being, or something. And Hotaru closes the distance between herself and Coconut and launches the father away, just brushes him aside, launching him away, breaking his face and giving him a bloody nose. And then says, "You have such a wonderful father." The man she just tossed aside and bloodied his face. "You have such a wonderful father." She's referring to the man that she just abused without even considering it. Just the non sequiturs are just so good in this show.
Oh yeah. Well, and I really like this. I didn't write this down, but I really like the scene change animations where it's just a single. So far, it's just been a still shot of one of the two girls, and we're about to meet Saya, but it's just one of them saying "de," which, like if you say that by itself, it just kind of means "and then," or like, please continue what happened next type thing when you're talking to somebody. "De." So it's just them saying what happened next for the scene continuations.
Yes.
Anyways,
so we're introduced to Saya, who is a blonde girl with multiple piercings in both ears
and super tiny eyes. Well, big eyes, small pupils.
Big eyes, small irises, and so she's kind of got this threatening aura. But it turns out that she's got a huge crush on Coconut. And at that time, Saya and her brother, To, or Tokun is what they call him. I don't know if it's short for something. The three of them are at her family's coffee shop.
Mm-hmm. So their cafe.
There's a cafe that she hosts, and there's and the candy shop that he hosts. And he ends up starting to talk about Hotaru. And just, there's this weird girl and weird things are going on. And To is like, well, is she pretty? What's she like? And says, yeah, I guess she's kind of pretty. And this puts Saya in a huge bad mood. And then proceeds to produce a coffee for him that she doesn't stop pouring.
He asks for a second cup of coffee, and she's like, "Oh," and he's like, "But can I also have some extra sugar in it?" And she's like, "Oh, you want some extra coffee, huh?" As like she gets kind of the shadows on her forehead and stuff, pours him some coffee, and just it overflows. And it's like, "Oh, and you want extra sugar?" Tink, tink. Well, how much sugar do you want? You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and keep adding sugar until you tell me to stop. And like eventually,
you hate my coffee so much that you need to have this much sugar in it.
My coffee so much you need this much sugar in it, type thing. And he
it looks like if Calvin had ordered coffee, because the sugar cubes haven't even dissolved; they're above the frame, and there's just a mound of sugar cubes that are brown from coffee.
And So, anyways, Kokonotsu then stands up, grabs the cup, and drinks it. And the
whole thing in one go.
The coffee is crunchy. He crunches it down because of all the sugar. And he says something really nice to her along the lines of, "This is like, I don't actually like coffee, but for some reason, I really like your coffee."
Yeah.
Type thing. To which Saya then blushes and turns around, and Hotaro's like, "Oh, not Hotaro. Kokonotsu's just like, well, I got to get back to work. Thanks, guys." And
it's at that time that he realizes he brought her coffee flavored snacks, little sweets, and gives them to her because he thinks she'd like them. They're like milk coffee flavored. And she doesn't even like sweets, but she likes that he gave her something. And it's just Toe's over there just.
He says, "I know you don't like sweets, but these are kind of mild, so I think you will enjoy them." And then she smiles, takes the candy, and then Kokonotsu leaves.
And Toe's over there going, "It's so sweet how Coconut has no idea how much you like him."
And she's like, well, and Toe, they're twins, Toe and Saya. That hasn't been revealed in the anime yet, but I was looking at the wiki just to confirm character names and things like this before recording.
Okay.
But To, the brother, who's the one who called him Coconut at first in the very beginning of the episode, says, it's like, aren't you an idiot? Like, you hate those candies are super sweet. Why did you take them? You know they're super sweet. And then she gets upset at her brother, and he says he is such an Coconut is such an idiot. He just doesn't really see how much you like him. I mean, honestly, how much big of an idiot can you get? To which there's then a scene, a splash cut with a punch sound effect. And Sai's like, I'm heading out to run some errands and watch the shop. To which you see To then sitting there.
Man, this whole time he's been wearing
snapped
shades
in half, and a punch mark in the middle of his face. And he's like, okay. But anyways, as Saya is out running errands, she's riding her bicycle. Yes. And she sees
along the rice fields.
She's riding on a path in the middle of some rice fields, as you see in a lot of anime. She sees a bicycle, wheels up in the rice paddies, wheels spinning, and she's just like, what? And so she stops her bike, gets down, and as she's going down, Hotaro pushes herself out of the mud, and she's just covered in mud.
Head to toe, covered in mud, completely brown, with globs on her. She looks like a swamp monster. And she starts approaching Saya, and what's the first thing out of her mouth? Are you okay? Is what Hotaro asks Saya. And Saya's like, that's what I'm supposed to be asking you. To which Hotaro starts telling the story of how she got to where she was, but she starts relating why she's in town as if she were a maiden, who a maiden warrior given a quest.
This quest, okay? This quest that she's talking about, very, very much JRPG inspired once again.
But medieval fantasy.
Yeah, so Saya asks her what she's doing here. And Hotaro says, instead of just saying flat out, my father sent me here to try to get Yo, Kokonotsu's father, to join our company. She talks about how she was given a quest to retrieve a sacred item, and that sacred item, when she says sacred item, it cuts to a shot of To, or of Yo, my bad, of Yo, and it's just with an arrow saying sacred item. But in order for her to retrieve that sacred item, she has to do something else. She has to revive someone, and the person she has to revive is Kokonotsu. But
it's him in chains as a skeleton in a dungeon, and she needs to revive him.
Yeah. But so here's some things, and I didn't expect you to catch all of them because a lot of this is Japanese, folklore. But it's pretty obvious that she's dressed up as the main character from Dragon Quest III. But she's not traveling with companions from the Dragon Quest games.
No.
She's traveling with a monkey, a dog, and a bird, which are the traveling companions of the Japanese folk tale of Momotaro, where the little boy who was born inside of a peach goes off to save a village when he's old enough from a bunch of ogres. And his traveling companions are a dog, a monkey, and a bird.
This isn't Into the West. This isn't about Son Goku being the monkey king.
It's not a different Son Goku. Nope. However, there is a Dragon Ball Z there's a Dragon Ball reference in this same thing. When she's fighting the dragon in this JRPG, the dragon is very much a brown version of Shenlong.
Yeah.
And there are 7 hearts around it, each one with a different number of stars inside of them.
Of course there are.
Yep. Anyways, Saya brings Hotoro back to the cafe, lets her shower, gives her some clothes. There's a funny exchange where To thinks that his sister's already back, and so he just walks in on her, and it turns out it's Hotoro showering. He collapses, but Hotoro is so dense about what's going on. She doesn't even realize she's completely naked in front of this guy as she tries to go help him.
And try to help him regain consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Hi, kitty. Anyway, there's not much left to that episode. I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty close to the end of
pretty much
episode
where the
1.
episode ends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But episode 2, it starts off again with Kokonotsu. He is inside of he's inside of the shop, and Hotaro comes to visit him. And what is it that Hotaro talks to him about?
Well, she talks about he starts complaining that his dad is having him watch the shop while his dad's going off, probably goofing off and things. And she's telling him, your father's an adult, and sometimes they just don't burden us kids with the kind of problems that adults have. So maybe you should ease up on him and just realize that maybe there's just some adult things that he's just not sharing with you. That said, we could be like adults. And he's like, wait, what? Which the way she's saying it and the way she's acting implies she's offering him sexual favors.
Yep.
And then the punchline is she has a special kind of candy, which is an Alka-Seltzer type pill that you put in the bottom of a cup, pour water in it, and it becomes juice with a foam on top, so it looks like beer. It's a fake beer.
She wants them to become adults together. And the reason she words it that way is because when she was small, she would always be at these gatherings with adults, but because she was so young, she could never drink beer with them. So in her mind, in order to become an adult, you need to drink beer. Yeah. But they can't drink beer, so they have this candy that turns into a drink. Yeah. But they
and he takes a sip and he tries it and he likes it. It's a kind of, he couldn't quite tell if it was
pineapple
or pineapple, but he likes it. And then after he's done saying he likes it, he looks at her and she's face down on the table, plastered. She got herself intoxicated.
Well, and then she even says earlier that this is non-alcoholic, so it's okay for minors to drink it.
But she's behaving like she's like all the adult women she's ever seen get drunk.
And she drinks it and she's like, give me another one. Well, we didn't mention this, but Kokonotsu they don't have this candy. And so he's like, well, I'm sorry, we don't have any. And she immediately looks at him and starts tearing up. She just starts crying. And she's just like, you're being mean and he won't give me a refill. And he's just like, okay, I'll fine. I'll find something for you to drink. I'll find something else. And so he goes to the candy and he finds a grape drink. And he's like, oh, will this work? And she has pulled out a package, like a box of these things, and she's putting them in a beer bottle, not just a small glass anymore, but an actual beer, not a bottle.
It's a stein. It's
a glass stein.
I have one that's a full quart for root beer, or a full liter for root beer floats. I almost never use it anymore, but I still have it. But yeah, it's just this huge. It's what you'd expect to see,
So
competition chugging.
She had more all along, is what we're trying to say. And then she makes more, and then she drinks. And then she collapses on the ground after having more.
In the middle of his shop. And he's like, you can't fall asleep here. Hello? Not here, please.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Later,
and that's the end of the first act.
Each
episode has an A and a B separate, as opposed to an A plot and a B plot that goes throughout the entire thing. It was just A is the first half, B is the second half.
Yes.
And this time,
the second half introduces Saya and Coconut are sitting on a park bench under a special type of overhang that hangs down low to provide shade.
And it's right outside his shop.
Right outside his shop.
And she asks him if he's done any of their homework yet, and he says no. It's a good thing summer's just begun. Wait, and they start hearing a whistling. Like, wait, what is this? What's going on? Like, what's this sound? Are we going crazy? And
it's Hotaru whistling through some kind of candy that looks a bit like a lifesaver.
Yeah.
If you told me it was a mint lifesaver, I'd believe you.
It's revealed that it is called a Fue Ramune. And
which I think that's Fue. It sounds like it might be an onomatopoeia for a whistle.
Fue is actually the Japanese word for flute. I played the flute in high school, and I would people would ask me what my hobbies were, and I would tell them that I played the flute. So Fue is flute in Japanese. And Ramune is the type of candy. You know those sodas that have the marble in them?
Yes.
That's Ramune. They kind of call that cider flavored, but it's not like any cider we know. It's got its very own unique flavor. But anything that says Ramune has that same flavor to it.
Okay.
So
the whole time she was whistling and talking about it, it reminded me of that scene from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang where they're trying to sell Toot Sweets, the candy flutes that his machine accidentally makes. If you remember that.
Well, sorry, I didn't catch that. There's a bit weird connection.
Okay, no, just listening to her. So she goes on talking about Hotaru goes on talking about the history of the whistle candy, and then and the whole time she's talking about that, I'm just thinking of Toot Sweets, the flute candies from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh yeah, I remember those. And she goes on to this super dramatic story about how it started off as this one candy, and then they were trying to come up with another version of the candy, but it just wasn't working. And she goes to this
and it took
high school
20
drama.
Years.
Huh?
It took them 20 years to figure out how to make a separate type of candy that wasn't gum based to do this.
That was hard. That was hard candy based.
Which means that there was 20 years. So she starts weeping in her imagination about this, about an anthropomorphic candy trying his best to whistle and not being able to.
It's an anthropomorphic candy with the face of Kokonotsu.
Yeah.
And then he gets bullied by some actual Ramune candies, and then some hard candies are saying, "Oh, that guy's gross. Let's just leave him alone." And he goes off by himself, and he gets met by his senpai, who is Fue Gum Senpai.
Yeah, who has the face of his dad.
The face and the voice of his dad, yeah.
But I paused it as he was as the first. So he's a completely round candy with arms, legs, and the face in the middle of the candy as if it were a mascot with a hole in the middle. And I'm just sitting here. I paused it and I actually wrote this down. I'm like, I'm sitting here watching a segment of an anime about anthropomorphic candies learning how to whistle.
That's anime for you. That's anime. And it's like, yeah.
What am I watching?
Eventually, he whistles, and it's a happy ending, and Coconuts is just like, oh, okay. But Hotaro's just like, what? Isn't it passionate? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it incredible? That's all right. What do you mean? You're going to be the ninth successor of this shop, and I need to teach you how to do things properly. And he's like, no, I'm not going to be the ninth successor of this shop. I'm going to be a manga artist. I'm going to create my own manga, and I'm going to leave this place. No. In order for me to take your dad, I have to make you the owner of this shop. And Saya's overhearing this entire conversation, and Saya realizes that, wait a minute, Hotaro's doesn't like him. Doesn't like Kokonotsu. She's trying to get him to stay. And so
she also realized that if he leaves, the shop would close.
Yes, the shop would close, but there's also and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a montage because again, I read a little bit of the wiki, but there's a montage in that montage of candy that she's thinking of. There's one at the very end that it really, really hones in on.
Uh-huh.
And that candy is very, very important to their backstory and how they became friends.
Oh.
So She then jumps up. Saya then jumps up and says, Coconut, I think you'd be great at being the owner of this shop. They then end up playing a card game. I forget what the game is called, but it's a game where you throw a card on the ground, and any card that you flip over with that toss becomes yours. And Hotaru's really good at it. Saya has never played it before in her life, and it turns out Saya is a natural genius at this game because she does a move. Her very first time throwing one of those cards, she flips the card. So, and then Hotaru, who's feeling threatened by Saya's ability because it took her years to learn how to do that, she's just like, okay, watch this. And she does this pose. And it's so overly dramatic. It's like a sports anime where they're talking about like, oh, this legendary pitch is done like this. It takes you years to master and things like that, you know? And they're throwing cards at the ground.
They're throwing cards at the ground with enough force to blow over other cards.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, she's holding the card with a super cool pose. She throws it down. There's a bunch of lightning as she throws it, and she flips over 2 cards at once. And Saya's like, that's incredible. That's so cool. And Kokonotsu's like, you have to teach me how to do that. And she's like, well, it'll take it 2 years to learn the move, but I guess we can get started today. And so they start...
2? Only 2 years? All right. That doesn't sound so hard.
And so they start doing it, and
while he's learning,
evening, late afternoon, and Coconut has not yet done it, and he's about to give it. He's like, it's really hard, and Hotaru's like, well, it's your first day. I don't imagine you'd be able to get it. And Saya's just like, if I recall correctly, you just hold the card like this, and you throw it like this, and she does a couple of practice swings, throws it down, and flips over 3 cards at once. And she's super excited. And she says, guys, I got 3 cards at once. It's incredible. Again, on her first try. And both of them are just in absolute shock. And by them, I mean, Hotaru and Kokonotsu. They're both in complete shock. And Hotaru's just like, I was naive. I was wrong. Saya, she. Wait, what? What do you mean she? And she's, instead of saying son, she says she, which means master. Kind of as you address a master or a teacher.
Which made me think a little bit about Genos and Saitama. Just what you're adopting someone as master a little too preemptively. But yeah, there you go. And yeah, for the rest of this episode and the whole of the next episode, I don't know if it's a running gag and it's just for the rest of the show, but yeah, Hotaru refers to Saya as Master Saya.
She does it the same in episode 3. She keeps calling her Master Saya.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know if it continues past episode 3, or if it's going to go for the rest of the series.
So this entire time I've been looking up because I recognize his voice, but the guy who plays Yo, the dad, he's had a huge anime career.
Really?
He was in Vision of Escaflowne
as
Kaja. I don't remember that name off the top of my head, but I think he's one of the pirates or one of the knights who escaped their city getting destroyed, or their base being destroyed. He was in Cowboy Bebop as an extra. He was in Prison School, just a Romeo X Juliet. He is Hans in Attack on Titan, the drunk guard who saves Eren at the beginning. He has had quite the career. He's also in a certain magical index. He's been in a Vampire Hunter D, the 2000 version.
Bloodlust?
So, I think that's Bloodlust in America. Yeah, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. It's just listed as Vampire Hunter D 2000 on my anime list. This guy has had an incredible anime career. Looks like he was also in Naruto. Been in a bunch of Mobile Suit Gundam. He was in Mob Psycho 100. So Magi. Ho-Ho, if you remember who that is.
No.
Dude with blue hair. It looks like he was in all of Magi, including Sinbad.
Okay.
So the Sinbad spin-off series.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because he's had quite the career. And the voice actor. Oh wait, was that? Oh, he's Reno in Final Fantasy VII as well.
Huh.
And he's Maze Hughes in Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He's also a character, I don't remember who that is, in Maoyu. But the actor's name, by the way, it's Keiji Fujiwara. Toby, what are you doing? Keiji Fujiwara.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so episode 3 kind of ends with
episode 2.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, episode 2 ends with Saya joining in and realizing that if Hotaro succeeds, then the boy that Saya loves will stay.
Mm-hmm.
And so she definitely wants that. Episode 3. Well, real fast before we do that, I noticed I didn't really pay attention the first time I watched it. I watched the episodes twice because we're actually recording a day late, so I gave myself some time to go ahead and watch them a second time. But the closing credits for episodes 1 and 2, it's Kokonotsu watching a TV over his shoulder, and the TV is playing clips from the episode, which I thought was fun. I thought that was a clever way of doing the closing credits.
Yeah.
Not as great as the closing credits of episode 3, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
We will.
So, episode 3 starts with Hotaro in his shop. It's summer. He looks up at his AC unit, and it's rattling like crazy, and he's just like, this is going to break. It's going to break anytime soon now. I guess I'll just enjoy it while it lasts. And then Hotaro walks in. He's like, oh, good morning, Hotaro. And what does Hotaro do?
She turns off his air conditioning, which at first is panic-inducing.
Uh-huh.
And then, I don't even know if she turns it off quite so much as just closes the flap to it. I don't know if closing the flap all the way on those devices also shuts them down, but she closes the flap completely, and then has To, the twin brother, bring in a portable grill and turns it on in the middle of his shop.
Yeah, a portable heater.
The portable heater so they're boiling water on this heater in the middle of the shop without air conditioning.
Oh, and those things get hot. Okay, they don't have centralized heating like we do here in America and Japan. I guess some of their newer places might, but most of the time they don't. So they have these space heaters that are actually petrol fueled. And if you have one of these, you have to make sure that you sleep with a window cracked open during the winter. Otherwise, you will suffocate as you are sleeping.
Yeah.
They actually will have fire engines go around and just beep their horns once every 30 seconds or a minute or something like that, just to remind people to crack open your window. So anyways,
So it's gotten to her head that some form of pork flavored cup noodle brand thing is best served in the heat of summer.
It's a cup noodles targeted towards kids.
Yeah. And so there's like this Peppa Pig style pig mascot on this pork flavored cup noodle thing, and well, the heat is really getting bad, and just how hot and sweaty To is absolutely enjoying himself watching Hotaru get sweatier and sweatier and hotter, and he starts getting a nosebleed. It's like, maybe we should turn the AC back on. No, I can last. And I think he actually passes. He says, "I'll see you on the other side," and then passes out with his bloody nose.
And it's because he's so attracted to seeing a sweating beautiful girl in front of him, and so he gives into it. Eventually, so Hotaro or Kokonotsu tells Hotaro that we need to turn it off in order to save To, and she's like, "No, don't worry about it. He'll be fine." And then Kokonotsu is just like, "No, wait, we have to turn it off and turn the AC back on in order to preserve some of the candy in here." To which she's just like, oh crap, she just realized that, they're probably destroying a bunch of the candy.
And then she takes that very Chunibyo pose of, aha, so you figured it out. You completely forgot, didn't you?
Uh-huh. Yep.
I swear I've seen Megumin do that exact pose.
It's a common pose.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's right up there with the kind of pose. Like somebody's done it at some point.
Anyways, she goes to turn the AC back on and it breaks.
Yeah.
It won't turn back on. So, long story short, they all end up deciding to go to the pool.
Yes.
And the entire reason that my bad. Well, they talk about going to the pool.
Yeah.
And Saya's just like, oh, that sounds like so much fun. Let's go to the pool. Yeah. And Hotaro gets this weird look on her face. Well, they go to the pool, and
Coconut and Toe are very much looking forward to seeing the girls in swimsuits.
Seeing all sorts of girls in swimsuits. And they run out into the light, being super excited about girls in bathing suits. And there's no one there. The pool is completely empty. To which Toe's just like, no, there's no point in going to a pool that doesn't have girls in it. I'm going home.
Yeah. So he's about ready to march off when one other person shows up. And it's Yo. It's Coconut's dad.
In a Speedo.
Well, apparently, he tells his son, oh, you found my shame. I'm afraid our shop's not doing too well, and so I'm doing work on the side for extra money. Turns out this is a lie that was concocted by him and Hotaro. It's revealed a little bit later. And it's like, what is the point of this cunning plan? To get him to guilt him into sticking around? It's like,
seriously,
you just showed him that this is an unprofitable venture. Oh, maybe being a manga artist is a better career path.
Depends. For some people, it's a great career.
But that's
the same as being an author here in the States.
Sure. But with how not busy he is, he could probably at least do some of his artwork while manning the shop from time to time.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
but anyway,
both.
So, Saya comes out. And she's
wearing like a school uniform.
She's wearing a school swimsuit, just a single swimsuit. And Yo, the dad, is on the lifeguard bench or a lifeguard chair. And he says, go ahead and add the chlorine to the pool now. And Hotaro says, okay, from the shadows. And she comes out in her swimsuit. And she's a busty girl. And she's not wearing an immodest swimsuit. It's a nice looking one, but she's wearing a hoodie with it as well. That seems to be covering parts of a zip-up hoodie. That seems to be covering parts of her body and accentuating other parts.
Which reminded me of the zipper tracksuit that the succubus wore in Interview with Monster Girls. It got stuck coming back up. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Anyways, Yo, they're all getting excited to jump in the pool, and Yo and Hotaro exchange looks.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that this is part of their plan. As soon as Hotaro learned that they were going to the pool, she called Yo. And so Yo cleared things up for them. And they set traps in the pool to get him excited about candy and get him excited about running the family candy shop. And she says, don't worry, it's going to work perfectly. I know for a fact that he'll find that candy real fast. And they all jump in the pool and they're having a good time. And they find at the bottom of the pool these candies, and I think they're kind of drink candies.
Yeah, they're long, thick, curly straws capped on at least one end. I couldn't tell if they were capped on both.
Probably should have written down the name of the candies, especially the ones that I didn't remember. But
he finds one, surfaces, and says, "Hey, look what I found under here." Toe comes up with 3. It's like, well, Toe's better at spotting these than he is. Mm-hmm. And then Sata comes up with 2, but they're different colors. Saya, sorry. Saya comes up with a blue one and a purple one. And Coconut is very happy to come over to Saya and explain what those candies are and how they're different flavors and what, like, she's holding a grape and a soda flavored candy.
He says cider in Japanese, which again I think is the Ramune flavor. But yeah, they say soda in English. Which is just a weird flavor because in America, what flavor is soda?
I think cola.
Well, we would say cola. Our candies would say cola, but we also
if it isn't cola flavored, then we would absolutely say what the flavor is.
Yeah, we would say cola. We wouldn't say soda flavored candy because if you say soda flavored candy, someone would say, "Well, what type of soda?" Because we actually have soda flavored haichus that I've tried before, and it's orange cream soda and cola soda.
Oh.
So, which were pretty good. But yeah, so they say soda flavor, but really, why? That doesn't narrow it down for America. Sure. But anyway, so
yeah,
they think their plan is working. They're so excited, and they're like, "This is great. He's going to eat this candy." And then all of a sudden, Hotaru turns around and sees this sign, and this sign says, "Food and drink prohibited within the facility."
And then there's a picture. So they all agree, like, "Oh, we can't eat this." And then there's a picture that's very much like the end of any given episode or any given segment of Kaguya-sama, Love is War, where they put a score up, and it says,
"Who won?"
Yeah. And so it's Yo, the father, and Hotaru going, victories 0 or something like that. Just
yeah. Well, yeah.
We lost.
They had this pose of just this is your win, but we'll get you next time type thing, like an honorable loss kind of thing. And really, it was just them being dumb because of course you can't eat candy in the pool. But anyway,
that leads us to the second half of the third episode, which all takes place inside, which is basically the girls. It's Hotaru and.
Before that, there is a bit with Hotaru and Toe. Toe is watching the shop. He's playing a Game Boy in the shop.
Oh, that's right.
He's playing a Game Boy in the shop, and Hotaru walks in. She's like, "Oh, where's Kokonotsu? Oh, he's not here. He asked me to watch the shop for him. Oh, okay." And so she tries to make Toe love candy, but she says, "Okay, so Toe, what's your favorite kind of candy?" And he's like, I don't really have one. And I forget exactly what he says in Japanese. What he says in Japanese is similar to the phrase, to another phrase in Japanese. And so she thinks he's saying that other phrase. And she's like, I've never heard of a candy like that before. Yeah. Because she can't comprehend that there's somebody who doesn't like candy.
Yeah.
She can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
So she, she gets... she gets him this candy that's kind of like it's a candy that's in wrapper. It's like looks like kind of a caramel candy.
You've actually given me one of these before. I think when you came home from Japan a couple of years
Possibly.
back. So it's a special kind of caramel or something or toffee or something that is wrapped in edible rice paper.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting there trying to peel it and trying to peel the rice paper off. And she's like, "Is he tempting me? Does he know how to do this? And he just wants me to teach him? Oh, this is my chance." And the next setup just reminded me of a scene in what was it? It was that time I got reincarnated as a slime when he's fighting the demon girl, and just the only chance he has is to throw some honey in her mouth. And so as this is happening, this is the moment I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, is that this is the moment where Coconut comes back, walks in, and realizes he's walked in on something weird happening. And it's at this moment that
she's doing an over the top baseball pitch where she's got one leg up in the air directly doing perfect splits, and then she chucks this piece of candy directly into Toe's mouth. And it hits Toe's mouth with such force that it actually freaks Kokonotsu out, and he runs and he's like, Toe, are you all right? And it cuts to like an x-ray shot of his mouth, and the candy is spinning so quickly, and Hotaro's like, wait, no, stop. Otherwise you're going to ruin it. It's spinning so quickly that the wrapper just dissolves super fast, and Tozo's like, oh, hey, that's great. The wrapper's all dissolved. So, and then after that, it's the two girls.
Like, so has the rice wrapper around your heart been dissolved too? Completely.
And then after that bit, it's the two girls. It's Saya at the coffee shop at the cafe, and Hotaro walks in.
And one of the things about this cafe is that one of the features of it is this fish tank with an enormous goldfish inside of it. It's way too big for the fish tank that it's in. It's just in there. It's kind of distracting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so these girls talk, and I don't really remember what they were talking about.
Well, they're sitting there drinking their, like, Hotaro orders 2 iced coffees, and Saya is just like,
oh, that's
why
right.
Is that? And Hotaro's like,
the reason
because I want to get to know you better. And so the two of them are sitting there drinking the iced coffee together.
The reason that Hotaro is there at the coffee shop is the repairman for the AC unit had come in, and worried that she might make the situation worse, Coconut sent her off.
Yep. And she uses that as an excuse to spend more time with Saya and get to know Saya better. So she orders the 2 iced coffees, and they sit down and they're starting to chat. And then Hotaro's just like, "Hey, I have a question for you. You know Coconut, you know Kokonotsu, right?" And Saya's just like, "Oh no," because Hotaro's acting all maidenly and pure right now, and just, kind of the fidgety, typical girl in love trying to get information about the guy that she likes without asking him directly. And Saya's just like, "Oh no, it can't be. She likes him too." And then she's like, "You've known him for a long." Hotaro's like, "You've known him for a long time, haven't you?" Yeah, I have. If that's the case, why have I never seen you eat Dagashi? And she's got like this super intense, scared, worried look that Saya doesn't know the joy of Dagashi, of these small cheap candies. And Saya's just like, "Oh, that's what this is about." And she instantly relaxes, realizing that Hotaro is not interested in Kokonotsu in that way at all. And so they got this fun exchange where Hotaro introduces her to this candy with the label of the first 7 letters of the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
G, H.
Yeah, something like that. I think it ends in H. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, it's A. It's G that it ends.
No. That was the joke. There's 7 candy in there, but there's actually 8 letters on the label.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking there were 6 candy and 7 letters, but you're right. It's 8 letters and 7 candy. And so she hands her this piece of candy, which is just like this kind of a sugary candy bar.
It looks like a cigarette. It looks like a candy cigarette.
And Saya's like, "Oh, how do I eat this?" And she starts trying to peel off the wax outside. And she looks over at Hotaro, and Hotaro's freaking out that she's doing that. And she's like, "Wait, but how do I eat this?" "Okay, well, maybe I just do this." And she just takes a bite and just rips it through her mouth. She then looks back at Hotaro, and Hotaro's super excited, like, you did it right. And there's this fun conversation where, look, these candies are cheap, so you don't get a lot of them. You don't get a lot. But excuse me. You don't get a lot of candy, but and so if kids use their meager allowance to use this candy and then all of a sudden it's gone, they're going to be sad. So one of the point of Dagashi is to make it take longer to eat so kids can enjoy it for longer. And this is one of those things where it's more difficult to eat so kids will enjoy it longer, which makes sense because every time I went to one of those shops and I bought some stuff, a lot of times I had no idea how to eat it. And then when I did figure it out, I felt like I was wasting my time. So.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
they have this conversation, and that's kind of how the episode ends, with the two of them talking about candy in the cafe. And then we both mentioned the closing credits for episode 3.
It's amazing because the
closing credits.
Yes, the closing credits. And it might just be because every once in a while a show will do something special for its third closing credits. Because Kaguya-sama Love is War, it's only the third episode that has the Chika-chan dance. And so different shows will do this. But this one, there is a bit of a dance going on. But what's going on is it's an entire montage of the concept of Alice in Wonderland, where Saya is Alice, and Hotaru is all the other characters.
Every once in a while, we see a cameo from Kokonotsu and To. But yeah, usually it's Saya. It starts off as Hotaru as the white rabbit being chased down, and then she's the caterpillar, and then she's the Cheshire cat, and then the Queen of Hearts. She's the walrus who's trying to eat. She's the
walrus eating a bunch of the marching candies that are supposed to be the oysters.
They're the oysters, that's everybody else. Little donuts, which is another thing we didn't mention, but there's a scene where she just has a pile of donuts that she pulled out of nowhere. But you just don't question.
And then she's in like a Cheshire cat bodysuit. Curled up on a tree.
And every once in a while, there's this kind of this cute dance that the two of them are doing together. At first, it's just Hotaru doing it as Saya's just kind of watching her awkwardly, and then the two of them are doing the dance together. And they do that a couple of times. It's just this great closing credits of this show. Anyways, that's the first 3 episodes of this.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It's very delightful. It's quite silly. So you kind of have to be in a mood for silliness to enjoy it. Which I'm gonna say I'm in a mood for silliness more often than not.
This one's staying in my queue. I am very excited to watch it. I had seen pictures of Hotaru all over the place, and honestly I thought that she was a yandere just because of her crazy eyes and the faces that she makes. And I brought this up with Doug today at work, our other brother, and he's like, well, isn't she a yandere? And I was like, no, she's not a yandere. She's just crazy about candy, and I mean crazy about candy. So this is going to stay in my queue. I'm going to watch it. I've actually got next week off from work. Going to use it to get caught up in some anime. Probably watch this some more while I'm painting. Actually, I just got a new mini in the mail today. I'm joining in a friend's D&D game, and you can't really. He's solid white right now because I haven't had a chance to spray him with primer and paint him. But this is a silver dragonborn cleric that I'm going to be playing. And he is a cleric of the god of war, Tempest, and everything can be solved through honorable combat.
Don't run! Kind of his personality. You'll die tired.
So, yeah. Anyways, this is a great show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to watching more.
Fantastic.
Next up, it is your pick, and it's going to be the final week of our food month.
All right. So I actually reached out to one of the anime groups I'm on Facebook. And the first recommendation that came up when I asked for recommendations for food-based anime was Gourmet Girl Graffiti.
Okay.
The story follows Ryo, a middle school girl who lives by herself. She has a knack for cooking, and she makes friendships with everyone through her food. The cooking manga is, quote, full of detailed cuisine art to whet the appetite. The kofuku in the title is wordplay on two Japanese homonyms, one which means happiness and the other that means appetite.
Okay.
And we'll be able to, so that's what we're going to watch next week.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my queue so I don't have to worry about finding it again. And it's on VRV, Crunchyroll, and High Dive.
Yes.
2 of those I'm paying for.
So yeah, now every show that we've ever watched, if it's possible to stream it, if you come to whittakerweekly.com, we will have links to where you can stream it. And usually it's Crunchyroll, sometimes Verve, sometimes Netflix, sometimes High Dive, sometimes Funimation, like today. What we watched is a Funimation exclusive. It's the season 1. So yeah, come visit us at whittakerweekly.com to get the links for these episodes.
Mm-hmm. Real fast, before we move on, there's a bit of news that I forgot that I learned about this morning that I'm very excited about.
Okay.
Season 2 of Teasing Master Takagi-san is going to be on Netflix in December. I believe December 9th was what the article said.
So it's a couple weeks then.
Huh?
It's just a couple weeks then.
Yep. They had the rights to air it in Japan, which is why no one else had it here in the States. So they finished it off, probably did all the dubbing and stuff like that. And it is going to be available to watch. And I adored the first season. So I'm looking forward to watching this one. So yeah, that's it for 3 episodes in. I'm excited to go ahead and try Gourmet Girl Graffiti next week. So let's go ahead and move on to recommendation of the week, and it's my turn this week. And I know I've recommended this in the past, but this just came in the mail, so I'm recommending the official release of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Okay.
This is another teasing manga where I think I've recommended this one. This is another teasing manga where this girl comes across a guy who's very, very shy and timid. And he actually he's been bullied so much throughout his entire life that he doesn't even remember people's faces. Like, he just ignores everyone and everything. And so this girl comes along and decides to break him out of his shell. It was really, really hard for me to read it at first, though, just because at the point it is where I've been reading it, well, with the fan translation, it's incredibly wholesome. It's cute. They're not a couple, but it's very obvious that they like each other. They spend a ton of time together and things like that. And she teases him, but he's able to, tease her back at times. And she's really helped him break out of his shell. At first, though, the first couple of chapters, she actually makes him cry because she doesn't know what the limit is yet. So it was really, really hard to read that. That said, this is a great translation. And let me grab another manga real fast to kind of show you the size difference. Here's Konosuba Volume 1. Okay. And here's Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Their spines are now aligned. Almost every manga is this.
It's a little wider.
It's a little bit wider. But the reason that it's wider is because by pushing it like this way, you can see there's still a little bit here and a little bit here. The images are now lined up. So they didn't make the images any bigger. But what they've done is that they've given this a bit more of a spine than the rest of the manga. So it's actually really, really easy to see the full picture as opposed to in here, which you can see the full picture, but you kind of have to really work at it to see the entire thing. So I really like that they did that with this one. Anyways, this is delightful. It's fun. And it's actually really interesting to read it again from the start because I forgot that he doesn't remember people's faces. But you see the outlines of people who he later becomes friends with that he doesn't see their faces at first. And he becomes friends with them thanks to her. So anyways, it's a great manga, great read. First couple of chapters are a bit rough just because she doesn't know the limit of what she can push him to. But after she learns what that limit is, it becomes a lot better.
Okay.
So yeah, it's great. I love it. Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. It has been released. My bad. I miswrote that. I'm going to go ahead and we'll have the link. You can go ahead and purchase it. You can purchase it on Amazon. That's where I got it. Available for Kindle or physical release. Obviously, I prefer physical things, but yeah, we'll have the link so you can go ahead and check it out on Amazon. Yes. Anyways, that's it for recommendation of the week. Next up is the creator shout out, and that's your turn.
All right, this week I'm giving a shout out to an artist that was at Anime Bonsai this year. They go by the nickname Kokana Camelot, but their real name is Paloma Otarola, and they are a visual artist, a concept artist. They have their own website. They have a Twitter feed, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook. And their artwork was just absolutely stunning. Definitely deserving of a shout out. This person's artwork is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm checking out her Instagram. Yeah,
the Instagram. Yeah, the Instagram's got a lot of charming little details to it. But if you go to her portfolio website, you've got some really high detailed work here. Just absolutely amazing.
Okay, I will have to check it out.
Fantastic.
Okay, well, we'll have links to her Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and her personal website up on our website for you guys to go ahead and check her stuff out. Yep. Anyways, thanks so much for listening in this week, you guys. If you listened on YouTube, please feel free to like this episode and subscribe to our channel. If you like what we do and want to support us, please share our channel with your friends. Where can they find us on social media?
Our site, whittakerweekly.com. currently has the links to our Facebook page, Twitter account, and YouTube channel. We encourage all our listeners to follow us on the social media platform of their preference. And if there's one we're not on yet, please reach out to us on one of the ones we've mentioned, and we will broaden our scope to include you.
All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. I've been Andrew.
I've been Lee.
And this has been Whittaker Weekly. You guys have a great week. And stop the recording.